Hello, my name is Indiana Jones, and me and my team of archaeologists are here at Joe's Junkyard, which right now is our archaeological site, and we are looking at cars from the period 2000 to 2050. As everyone knows, there was a catastrophic earthquake in 2050, so we can estimate that all the cars here are from 2000 to 2050. This was a very pivotal moment for the transportation industry because at this moment they began to try out different fuels instead of fossil fuels. And today we will discuss nuclear fuel and how cars were affected by nuclear fuel in the period 2000 to 2050. In 2010, with the liberation of Egypt, other Middle Eastern countries which held oil began to liberate themselves and become democracies. But with democracy comes control over your resources. So when countries democratized, they did not let us buy their oil. So the transportation industry and the government began looking into other sources of energy in 2015. One energy source the government started to look into was nuclear energy. This was not the first time the government looked into nuclear energy. In the 1950s, Ford and the government began building nuclear weapons. One, the government used them in World War II to attack and use them as a deterrent, but Ford used them to power cars, and a car called the Ford Nucleon. Though the Nucleon was never built, it stood as a monumental change in the look of alternative fuels to the nation. In 2017, the government began to really look into nuclear energy as a mode of transportation for cars and other vehicles. The government's main concern was safety, because they did not want cars blowing up all over the place and people getting cancer. Now, before I discuss how a nuclear car works, we must discuss how a regular car worked back in 2010. So we can give a little bit of contrast to see how different the nuclear car was. There are two types of cars that ran on fossil fuels. There were the diesel, and there were the regular gas turbine. Diesel is interesting because the diesel could also run biofuel. But since we're speaking about nuclear versus fossil fuel, we'll only speak about nuclear versus fossil fuel. A regular car's engine back then worked using a method called internal combustion, which simply means that all the combustion happened inside. Internal combustion happens when you put a tiny amount of a high energy liquid, like gasoline, in an enclosed space. And then you ignite it. When you ignite it, a whole lot of energy comes out in the form of gas, and this moves turbines and other things which power the car. On the other hand, nuclear energy uses a process called nuclear fission, in which a uranium isotope called U-235 is used. A neutron is then shot at the U-235, which causes it to create energy in two other products. These two products are krypton and barium, and this energy comes out in the form of heat, which is used to boil water. The boiled water then creates steam, which is used to push turbines and other things which propel the car. Since this process creates so much energy, the car's efficiency goes up by at least 4 years. while a regular gasoline-powered car would only get a mile per gallon. Though nuclear-powered cars had such great efficiency, they also had the problem of safety, which led the government to discontinue the project of building nuclear cars for the nation. This happened in 2025, in which hoverboards were just being created. By 2030, most of the cars on the market were electric cars because they were both fuel efficient and cheap to manufacture. By 2040, because of wind energy, electric cars became the most plentiful type of cars. Well, this concludes my report during 2000 to 2050 on nuclear cars versus other types of car fuels. Though I believe that nuclear cars were the best types of fuels, they were not used by the government because of safety reasons. And this is Indiana Jones signing off.